Hello guys, and welcome back to another conspiracy theory where I have multiple fans from multiple fan bases come and tell me to jump off the nearest bridge. But yeah, so I'm gonna go year by year. Each year that the Pacers won a ABA championship and compare them to whatever NBA team won the championship. And I know I have this taped to my shirt, my mic taped to my shirt, but that's because I don't really want to hold it. So I just took some tape and put it right there. And I mean, it sounds pretty good. I tested the quality and stuff. It sounds pretty good to me. But I could be on crack. I think it sounds decent for a headphone mic, but I could be wrong. So, the 1971 to 1972 season, the Pacers did go 1-2 in the NBA-ABA scrimmages. If you didn't know, back when the ABA and the NBA were two different things, they did scrimmages, games that just didn't count, and, usually I don't know. Usually the Pacers lost in those ones. But the Pacers went 1-2, 1 win, 2 losses. But they didn't face any of the championship teams, like any of the teams they're going to face. They did face the Knicks in this one, but we'll get into that later, okay? This is before the Pacers had George McGinnis averaging 27 points per game and like 12 rebounds a game. So, and Willis Reed was still a star for the Knicks at that time. But we'll get into that later when the Pacers face the Knicks. So at point guard, the Pacers had Freddie Lewis. He was an all-star that year. But the Lakers, they had Jerry West, who was an all-star that year. He was an all-star every year of his career. And is the NBA logo. Trust me when I say the Lakers win that matchup. Now, sometimes I'm going to sound pretty harsh on my Pacers, more harsh than I usually sound if you're a recurring viewer. But I'm trying to be as truthful as possible here because I want to see if the Pacers actually should have an NBA championship or a few NBA championships. Just saying. So at shooting guard, the Pacers have Rick Amount, and the Lakers have Gil Goodrich. Just trust me on that one too. The Lakers win that one. So right now, Pacers 0 and Lakers 2. Lakers are beating them in the point guard and shooting guard position. So at small forward, the Pacers have Roger Brown, who's an all-star. If you don't know that much about the ABA, Roger Brown was another good player for the ABA. He was an all-star. He was a really good player in the ABA. And the Lakers had Elgin Baylor, but it is not prime Elgin Baylor. This is Elgin Baylor's last season in the NBA. And it's not his worst season, it's his second to worst season. But Roger Brown being an all-star and Elgin Baylor having one of his worst seasons of his career, Pacers win that one. So right now, Pacers are winning at the small forward position, and the Lakers are winning at the point guard and shooting guard position. Okay, so at power forward, the Pacers have Bob Netolicki. 1 year removed from an all-star appearance, averaging 15 points per game and 9 rebounds per game. It's a pretty solid season. The Lakers have Happy Harrison. Never been an all-star, 13 points per game and 13 rebounds per game. It's close, but I'm giving it to Bob Netolicki because he has more size on Happy Harrison. So right now, the Pacers are winning at the small forward and power forward position, and the Lakers are winning at the point guard and shooting guard position. So it all comes down to the center position. And what I'm going to say might trigger a few Lakers fans. The Lakers have Wilt Chamberlain with 14 points per game and 19 rebounds per game. Now, I would never say that the Pacers' Mel Daniels could ever beat a prime Wilt Chamberlain, because a prime Wilt Chamberlain was a completely different animal. 100 points in a single game. I believe he also had like 55 rebounds in a single game. I would never argue that. But this season, Mel Daniels was averaging 19 points per game with 16 rebounds per game. So I think he could put up a fight. But I am going to give it to the Lakers because Wilt Chamberlain had more size on Mel Daniels. So maybe if Wilt was just a little bit worse and a little bit older, Mel would win that one. But now some of you Pacers fans might feel differently, because I know there are actually some Pacers fans who are still alive who did watch those Pacers play. So I'm going off of statistics here. So these are regular season statistics, not playoff statistics. Sorry if you wanted me to use playoff statistics, but usually players play better in the playoffs anyways, especially the finals. So I predict that the Pacers would lose in a very close 7-game series to the Lakers. But the 1972-73 season is a bit of a different story. The Pacers did go 1-5 in the NBA versus ABA scrimmages, but never faced the NBA championship Knicks. So, just saying. The Pacers had Bill Keller, and the Knicks had Walt Frazier. Knicks win that one. Shooting guard, the Pacers had Freddie Lewis, and the Knicks had Earl Monroe. The Knicks win that one. Even though it's a very old Earl Monroe, it's still better than Freddie Lewis. It was close. Now, the Pacers had Roger Brown. He was not an All-Star this year. His final All-Star appearance was the year before, but the dude could still perform like an All-Star in some games. And the Knicks had Bill Bradley, who is an All-Star. So the Knicks are winning in the point guard, shooting guard, and small forward position. But just wait. At power forward, George McGinnis, averaging 27 points per game and 12 rebounds per game. And who do the Knicks have to try and stop that? Dave DeBusschere, an all-star, but worse than McGinnis. Pacers win in a landslide on that one. 27 points per game and 12 rebounds per game. That's Giannis Antetokounmpo numbers right there. Bro. Like, and at center, the Pacers have Mel Daniels, who is still an absolute beast. And the Knicks have a on his way out Willis Reed. And by on his way out, I mean not an all-star, on the decline, and definitely cannot stop a still in his prime Mel Daniels. Another landslide win for the Pacers. Now, for the championship, even though the Knicks beat the Pacers in the point guard, shooting guard, and small forward position, I choose the Pacers to win very closely in a 7-game series. And it is not because I'm a Pacers fan. And I hate the Knicks immensely. 8 points in 9 seconds. Get wrecked. It is because we beat them in the two most important positions in the 60s and 70s. The power forward and center position. And they had guys that could not stop our power forwards and centers. And this is a time where the power forward and center position were the two most important positions in the entire both leagues. In the entirety of basketball, the power forward and center position were the most important positions. And if you could not stop those positions, you're losing. It's over. You want to know why the Knicks probably lost to the Lakers in that NBA championship the year prior to this? Probably because Willis Reed couldn't really stop Wilt Chamberlain. Or whichever center they had out there couldn't really stop Wilt Chamberlain. So, Pacers win in 7. Closely, though. Don't worry, Knicks fans. You still have a championship, because in the 1969-70 season, I have the Knicks winning in 5 games, because Willis Reed was still an all-star, and the Pacers were worse. George McGinnis wasn't even on the team. Yeah. George McGinnis and Mel Daniels being good and Willis Reed not being good is the main reasons they win that. So with Willis Reed being good and George McGinnis not even being on the team, it's over. The Pacers win in 7. Now, maybe thinking the video's over. No. We still have one more hypothetical to go to. Let's jump ahead a good 30 years to the 2000 Western Conference Finals between the Lakers and the Blazers. Now, you can ask anybody who watched that Western Conference Finals series that the Blazers... So most of you probably know the Blazers had a early series lead. And then, just ask anybody who wasn't rooting for the Lakers, the refs bailed out the Lakers like they always did in the early 2000s, and the Blazers lost. So, let's say that the refs don't bail it out, and it's an actually fair NBA playoff series, and the Blazers are now going up against the Pacers. So Pacers already have 1 NBA championship. Can they get 2? Maybe. You know, after this, I might put up a picture or something over here saying 1973 NBA champions and 2000 NBA champions. If the Pacers even won in 2000, let's find out. So at point guard, the Pacers have Mark Jackson, not prime Mark Jackson. I'm trying to fix spelling errors here. Oops. Come on, you freaking... There. Now, this is not all-star Mark Jackson, but while being old, he can still dish out the ball, averaging 8 assists per game. Only problem is he faces Damian Stoudemire. So, Blazers win on that one. Shooting guard, though. Reggie Miller is an all-star, and it is the playoffs. And the Blazers have Steve Smith. What more does there need to be said? 8 points in 9 seconds. The dude goes all out in the playoffs. It's over. Reggie wins that one. So right now it's 1-1. The Blazers are winning in point guard position. Pacers are winning in the shooting guard position. On the small forward position. Now, the Pacers have a Jalen Rose who is fresh, who's coming off of a Most Improved Player award, averaging 18 points per game. And the Blazers have an old Scottie Pippen, who can't keep up with Jalen Rose. In my opinion, he could not keep up with Jalen Rose. And Jalen Rose might not be the best defender, but I think he could keep up with an old Scottie Pippen. So the Pacers win that one barely. So Pacers are winning at the shooting guard and small forward position. Blazers are winning at the point guard position. Now on to the power forward position. The Pacers have all-star, I've made a video on this guy, Dale Davis, an absolute rebounding and defensive beast. The Blazers have an all-star Rasheed Wallace, who, while better than Dale Davis, 2 defensive players, one has a certain reputation with refs that tends to get him in trouble. So, if Rasheed Wallace did not have his troubles of cursing out refs and getting in foul trouble, the Blazers would win this one, but he has those problems, and Dale Davis just doesn't, or at least not to my knowledge, have those problems. So the Pacers win on that one. So right now, Blazers point guard position, and the Pacers shooting guard, small forward, power forward position. Now on to the center position. The Pacers have Rick Smits, and the Blazers have Arvydas Sabonis, father of Domantas Sabonis. Now on that one, in my opinion, the Blazers barely win because Rick Smits, this is his last season in the NBA. And while it is also Arvydas' last year, he comes back a year later and still puts up decent numbers. So in my opinion, Arvydas Sabonis is better than Rick Smits on that particular year. So the Blazers barely win in that position, but Pacers, also if you're wondering about the benches, the Pacers had a better bench than the Knicks in that 72-73 season, and the Pacers have a better bench than the Blazers in this 1999 to 2000 season. So the Pacers win a hard-fought 7-game series. And this light does not like me. Man, I really gotta replace the batteries on this thing already, or is it just broke? Okay. So, meet the Indiana Pacers. '73 and 2000 champions. And I know what you're gonna say, Luke, how could the Pacers beat the Knicks? They would be in the same conference. First off, in the ABA, the Pacers were actually in the Western Conference. And second off, if the Knicks beat whatever team in the finals, and the Pacers could beat the Knicks, then the Pacers could beat the other team that the Knicks beat. You see what I'm saying? And in that, I'm mainly going off of the narrative of ABA versus NBA. You know how the NFL used to, AFL versus NFL type thing? That's what I'm thinking of. So yeah, the Pacers should have 2 rings. And it would be amazing because, Rick Smits in his final season would get a ring. And Reggie Miller would get a ring. And I know you're probably also going to be like, well, what about the 1997 season where the Pacers were even better and had a very similar roster but better? And to that I say, I can create hypotheticals where, teams played in the same league or teams didn't, get biased refs, but I cannot make hypotheticals where Michael Jordan does not exist. Because that'd be a little bit harder to do. Or a whole team doesn't exist, because that'd be a little bit harder to do. So, but yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want more videos like this, comment down below. I'll probably make more, hypothetical type videos like this in the future. But yeah, subscribe if you're new. Just help me out, please. I will see you guys in the next one.
Love on each other, as in, tell each other they love. I don't know, who the person is. The fuck you doing? The fuck you doing? Dumbass.